So
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It is our very last show of the semester, and we are still having technical difficulties, but what else is new?
Consistency.
So, of course, yeah, we're being consistent. So today we have a very special day. We're super excited. We have a couple of special guests in the studio, some sport media girls themselves. We have Therese sitting across from me. Woo! We have Keaton and Sam in the other studio. And today we're going to talk about a lot of personal stories, a lot of how we grew up with sports, why we're here, and where we hope to go. So if you were following along with our Instagram story, I think we're going to start off with what was our favorite sports movie that involved women, involved girls. So does anybody want to take that away?
Are you going to say what I...
Probably. I'm going to start by saying The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie, first of all. But it also involves women, and there's only one girl on the team, and she's a queen, so... she
As all girls are.
gets a lot of goals, and then as you get into the second one, they get another goalie, or another girl, and she's a goalie, and she's better than Goldberg, who's the other goalie. So, and then as you get into the third one, she becomes the starter. So there's some female empowerment there. But yeah, it's just a great movie overall.
Did that movie inspire you to be in hockey?
No.
Oh,
I was
okay.
already in hockey when I saw it.
That was kind of a lead-on question and it really didn't work out.
You know, I was already in hockey when I saw the movie, so yeah.
Decent.
Yep.
Whatever, it's fine.
I know one of my favorite movies that's like all about females in sport is A League of Their Own.
Oh my god, that's
Great movie.
Literally,
I feel like
baseball for growing up.
Yeah, that had to be at least like 3 people in the room. Yeah, I don't know. I love that one, and I love that it's a pretty old movie, but most of the cast is female too. Yeah. No, I didn't play baseball or anything. I just really like that movie.
Are we naming just female movies?
You can name anything if you want.
I mean, like sport movies
Yeah.
that inspired you.
Well, this didn't inspire me, but it's just an awesome movie. I think it's the best movie I've ever seen. It's going vertical, so it's about the Olympics, and I don't remember what year exactly, but in the 70s when the Soviet Union beat the U.S., but in the last 3 seconds of the game. It's about basketball. Best movie ever. Everyone should watch it. So yeah, it didn't inspire me because obviously I don't play basketball, but just amazing movie.
Mine, it's actually really funny because the program that we get in, we have to do an interview. So Joe asked me, what's your favorite sports movie? And out of my mind, I just picked She's the Man.
Yes.
With Channing Tatum.
Oh my God.
And bro, literally, it's like such a good movie. It's hilarious cast, all about female empowerment. The only girl on the team, and honestly, me and Joe had a good conversation, and we were like talking about which Shakespeare movie it like really it was from, but it was Merchant of Venice.
Yeah,
we figured out in the end, but
Oh.
yeah, it's such a good movie. I love it so much.
Wait, I didn't know
totally
it was
forgot
supposed to be
about
a
that one.
Shakespeare movie.
Yeah, Merchant of Venice.
I
She
thought it
dressed
was
up as
based
the
off of
man.
Hamlet.
Yes.
I remember I watched it in class in like grade 11 or whatever, or maybe grade 9. I don't know. Whenever I read The Merchant of Venice, we watched the movie in class, and I was like, "Wow, this is a great movie."
It's great. It is a
Yeah,
great
it was
movie.
very inspiring.
She's good enough to play with the guys, and
Yeah.
she proves that very obviously.
Definitely.
Gotta love Amanda Bynes.
Hope she's doing well.
She's doing well.
Sis went through a rough time.
So,
Anyone else have
Who's
their
next?
favorite
Also,
movie?
The Blind Side. That's a good movie.
I was
my
gonna
God.
be so
So
sad.
sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
The Sandlot.
It's really-
Excuse me.
Oh,
yeah, I
yes,
was watching
I
that
knew
the
Sam
other
was
day
going to say
too.
that.
So it's like, excuse me.
Sandra Bullock?
It's a great day. Sandra Bullock plays such like a strong female character.
damn, I
She's really
know.
good at that. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that's her specialty, of course. But the way she plays that character and
Yeah.
how you can see like the emotional ups and downs and how she like handles everything and goes through everything, especially in like a time where like I don't know, not everything she was doing was accepted, right?
Yeah.
Like it's still not, of course, but it's different now. Anyways, but the way she showed so much like sympathy
Yeah.
in that movie, but was still so tough, was like the woman I want to be.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
She was very, like, she knew what she wanted. Like, she didn't care
Exactly.
like, when her friends
She a
judged
queen.
different.
Oh yeah, when she was at okay, I don't know if anyone's seen this movie. Please watch it. It's amazing. Me and my mom have probably watched it 50 times. But she's at lunch with like her best friends or something,
Yeah.
and they're like, "What would your father think of that?" Because she's trying to adopt this black football
yeah.
player who came from nothing.
yeah.
Came from a poor background, a rough background, and everyone was judging her for it. Like, why are you bringing a black boy into your house? Like, does your daughter feel comfortable? And like that, the thing is, like, that thought didn't even occur in her head, but it just shows. It's a movie where like it shows female empowerment. Of course, it's about sports, so we all love it, and like it has that emotional side to it.
Yeah.
So I'd say like top 3
Yeah,
for me.
definitely.
What about, I have two about the same sport, figure skating, but one older one and one newer one.
You gonna say Ice Princess?
I'm gonna say Ice Princess.
I thought you were gonna say I, Tanya.
That was gonna be my second one.
Definitely.
No, that was funny.
Yeah, those are
Sebastian
definitely
Stan.
two of my favorites. Yeah, not just because I figure skated, but I feel like they're both.
Those are really good.
Especially with I, Tanya being like a real story,
Yeah.
right? Makes it more.
Margot Robbie really played
Yeah.
that.
Oh, she what?
And Sebastian
Can,
Stan.
So
can we
well.
just talk about Sebastian Stan for a second?
Yeah, that was good.
What a guy.
There's a lot of good figure skating movies, I feel.
There
like.
are.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like there's the Go Figure one where she's a figure
Yeah.
skater and she has to play hockey, which is like a good one.
I was getting that movie
Oh,
like
the other way
shoved
around?
down my throat last week by Emma and I think Sam.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen it.
Well, because with the release of Disney Plus, I got to see all of these movies. I'm like, oh my god,
Quick
go
little,
check out Disney Plus.
quick little name drop there.
Remember the Disney Channel movie Motocross?
Yes.
Oh
Where
yeah.
she dresses
Yes.
up as her brother. And
It's on
she,
Disney Plus.
yeah, and she goes under as like the, what is he, BMX racer?
Yeah.
I like that one too. That one's
Yeah.
really good.
Okay,
Nice.
but has anyone seen the game plan?
Oh my god,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
No.
With
It's
the
like
Rock.
long
it
time
has
ago.
The Rock and Madison Pettis when she was like a child.
Yeah.
Oh, when
But,
she's
like-
like a ballerina. and
Yeah,
he
she's
has
a
Yes.
football player.
Oh, what a softie.
Great
What a
movie.
softie.
I love that movie.
That is a
Oh,
cute
my
movie.
mom texted me and said The Cutting Edge.
Yes, that's
my
another
other
one though,
favorite
isn't it?
Oh yeah, I can
Fun,
read
yeah.
out the ones that we got. We
Fun
got
fact
a lot of
about
responses.
The Cutting Edge. My mom's wedding song is taken from the end of Cutting Edge.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
So she probably liked the movie or didn't know that it was from the movie.
No, she loved the movie. That's where she found it.
That just kind of
Amazing.
goes to show how much of an effect these movies have on, first
Our
of all,
lives.
yeah, on our lives, but like different age groups.
Yes.
Ooh,
Look at that transition.
demographics.
Wow.
World would be so proud of us.
Yeah.
Can I read out some of our answers?
Yeah,
Yes.
from our Instagram.
So we got quite a few actually. A lot of repeats. Rocky was there a few times.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
a bummer.
love
I feel like my
The
mom
whole-
definitely
I
said
could
that.
binge watch that series
the
like forever.
whole Rocky series.
Yeah, is-
All of them.
Is I just love it. That's all I have to say.
We got Bend It Like Beckham,
Yes.
obviously.
It's a good one.
A League of Their Own came up a few times. The Blind Side.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good
Rudy.
one. Oh, Rudy.
I've never
I
seen
love the
that movie.
aha moments happening here. Everyone's like, oh.
Right. Bad News Bears. Moneyball.
Moneyball.
yeah.
Raging Bull. Any Given Sunday. Coach Carter.
Coach
Oh,
Carter.
Oh,
that
that's a
movie's
good one.
awesome.
And Major League. Those are some good
I love
ones.
Major League.
Major League's
That's a
funny.
great movie.
My
man.
my
Good job,
all-time favorite movie, which is also a sports movie, is The Replacements. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
That's my sister's.
It's
I
with
was thinking
Keanu
of that.
Reeves, so
was
you know I
like,
love
you
it.
love him.
But it's about like basically this football team. They want to get paid more, so they walk out. It's kind of based on a true story, and the replacement players come in, and it's kind of bittersweet, and it's really good because they never get like the credit for what they do, but they get a chance, like a second chance. So that's what the whole movie is about, like athletes getting a second chance and being able to redeem themselves. I just love it. And Gene Hackman is the coach, and he's from Hoosiers too, which is another
Yeah.
good sports
Yeah.
movie, but it's just so good. I love it.
Nice.
Also, Stick It is good. I don't know if any of you guys.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah,
I feel
it's
like I've heard of it.
I've
Is
definitely
Corbin
seen
Blue
it.
in that?
Corbin Blue.
No, I
What
think
was
that's
the jump rope?
Jump
No,
In.
that's
Jump
Jump In.
With the Red Hot Chili Steppers.
That counts as a sports movie. Jump In was amazing.
Iconic.
Would we count High School Musical
I
as
was
a
gonna
sports
say,
movie?
Yes.
I don't know.
At this point, everything's a sports movie.
If they play
His
sports
head's in the game,
it,
but his
it's a
heart's in the
sports
song, you know.
movie. Exactly.
But one of the movies that was mentioned, Moneyball, to me,
It's a great movie.
I watched it when I was like pretty young, so I didn't remember it for a while. And then when we brought it back up, like this year in university, and I realized that like that was the first movie that kind of showed me what the inside of sports was like the other side,
Yeah.
like not playing the sports, but like the other side where it's all like the statistics and everything. That was like the first little glimpse for me.
My mom
So
just
that was
texted
kinda
me and
cool.
she loves Moneyball. So let's see if it's worth.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, she didn't say anything about Moneyball.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what she's trying to say.
What about
Love you, Mom.
dodgeball?
Oh, I love that
geez.
movie.
That's
I can quote it word for word.
Go
Dodge
right now.
a wrench,
Quote it,
you can
Sam.
dodge a ball.
Let's hear
that
those.
one.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. What else?
I like the Ben Stiller moment when he's like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah.
It's just it's so outrageous. I
Aw.
love it.
Wow, you guys actually know it.
Oh yeah,
I thought you were
the
gonna be like,
average
"Yes."
Joes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the movie The Benchwarmers? It's like another baseball
Yeah,
movie.
we
It's
love
like
that.
similar
Yeah.
to Dodgeball. And it's just like a goofy comedy that I
Yeah.
love.
I
I,
like
can
that
also
one
say
too.
that word for word.
Yeah, well, I think so. Whenever we come back on for new season, we kind of give a recap of like who we are and what sports we played and how we got into the program. And we'd be interested in hearing how you three got here today.
Therese looks
Say
uncomfortable.
anyone.
I'm ready. You stay ready.
How's it going?
Okay.
Wait, who wants to go first? Me?
Sure, go.
I think so.
Okay. So my name is Therese Villa. I've been playing soccer my whole life. I've also swam. I stopped playing soccer in 2016. Love hockey. The Blackhawks are my favorite team.
Yes.
Love the Leafs too. Honestly, Jonathan Taze. Okay, all the haters out there, he's gonna make a comeback season, okay? I promise.
Just keep believing that.
Okay,
Therese.
yeah, I'm just gonna keep believing.
I'm
like,
with you, Therese. It's fine.
How did I get into this program? Honestly, I took a sports marketing class in high school, my last year of high school, and I was gonna right, and
I had that.
and then my teacher mentioned the media production, but also sports media, like the RTA, and I was like, oh, sounds really interesting. I didn't go to the open. What is it called? Like
Open
the
house.
open house.
Information night or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
information night or whatever. I didn't go to that, and I applied, didn't get into media production, which is totally fine. When the morning I got like my acceptance. No, I got the interview thing in the morning, and I was so like shook because I didn't think I'd actually get in. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. And then I got my like acceptance thing in the library in my high school, and I just ran around the library. Yeah, it was a really cool time. Really don't regret it at all. Like I love this program. Like everyone's just so nice. Like even the guys. I come into this program, I always thought like, oh, they're just, oh, I shouldn't say this.
You know
podcast,
what?
but-
Honestly, we say this stuff all the time.
It's hard to
Yeah,
not
it's
fall into the stereotype of
Yeah.
like guys thinking they know like
Yeah.
a lot more than us.
But
So
they're
yeah, it's
just-
intimidating.
They're all so nice. Like I don't think I've met anyone like an asshole.
No,
No, I
one's,
haven't.
Like, no one's like tried to put
Yeah.
us down.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah,
which is
everyone's
good.
just so nice, and that's what I think we need in this program, like acceptance from guys, because obviously women in sports, like media, it's a hard, I don't want to say it, but like it's a hard industry to get in.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys are doing here is so good.
Oh, thanks.
The five of you guys, Yes, the five of you guys. I'm very proud of you guys. So just
Love
keep
you,
it up.
Therese.
Keep it up.
Can I ask, what was your like thing coming into the program? Like some people were like really into
Okay.
writing, some people were into graphics. Like what were
Yeah,
you into?
definitely. I really like
Graphics.
graphics.
Senior graphics.
As
They're
I say, she's
awesome.
bomb at graphics.
Yeah.
so I hope it's
Social
phenomenal.
media, graphics. Like I think I want to fall into that. Lately, for the journalism, so we have a journalism class, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
the
I don't know about
writing
right.
It's
I love
really
our
changed
journalism
my
class.
perspective.
I don't
I
think I'm
didn't
gonna
realize
be
how
like a
much was involved
journalist,
in it though.
but it's really
Yeah.
cool. It's like it taught me a lot. Yeah, but definitely. Hopefully. I think my accomplishment is to work for, like what I really want to do is work for like TSN or like TSN for I don't know like social media graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Go join the
path
bar
I
down
wanna do.
team.
I don't know.
You can plug your
That's
graphics
scary.
page.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
True.
Okay. Wait, I don't like shout out. Oh, okay. I don't
Do
like
it.
shout
Shameless
Yeah.
plug.
So at Reese at RESE.VS.
giving her a
It's my
follow.
graphics account. You don't have to follow it, but like
I'm doing
just
it.
go
like
follow
it.
it. Follow
Hey,
it.
I just
check
wanna
it out.
see.
We'll put
She's
the
definitely
link
worth the hype,
below,
worth the hype.
so check it
Yeah.
out.
It's whatever, but yeah. Thanks, guys.
Cool. And
Nice.
awesome. What about you?
Okay, so I basically played any sport my entire life. Mainly it was baseball, since I could practically walk. But like in school, I played every single sport. Like it didn't matter. And usually I would be the only girl playing. Actually, even for baseball, sometimes opposing teams, the guys wouldn't even shake my hand at the end of the game.
Rude.
And I'd be like,
Salty?
okay, yeah, literally, okay, stop being so salty.
They're just jealous that you're better than them.
Yep.
Honestly, I had the pink batting gloves, so they knew when I went up to bat, and I would crush that.
Good for you. Make a statement.
Unreal.
Yeah.
No, but then, like, applying to the program, I was like, I didn't have any, like, broadcasting system at my school. Like, I know some people had, like, radio things at their school and stuff like that. But I was just on my athletic council. And so I just thought, why not? Sports are, like, the most constant thing in my life. Might as well do it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of support from my one of my teachers, my gym teacher / coach, and so she was really pushing me for it. And so I applied, got an interview, and I had to wait probably like a month and a half before I got my acceptance. Yeah, I was already like in the mindset of like, okay, I guess I'm not going to Ryerson. I'm going to my other school. It was so sad. And then like I woke up one day on like a half day, and I had a volleyball game that day. And I woke up and I saw it in my freaking my inbox, and I literally like jumped out of my bed. And then that day, like going to school, going to the volleyball game, like I would be telling people, and like I remember
Literally everyone you run into.
yeah, and my teacher, my coach, she wasn't there at the beginning of the game, so she came at the end, and so I like ran up to her at the end. I was like, I got in. So we had like a whole hugging moment. It was so emotional. But yeah, I love this program. I see myself more going into like producing or directing. I just want to be right in the action and just telling people what to do.
She's a
like,
really good director. Speaking from experience of doing stuff.
Oh yeah, like first day of TV Lab when like Ryan asked like, oh, what do you guys want to do? And everyone's like, oh, maybe some on-air stuff. I'm like, producing
ready.
and directing.
You knew.
It's exactly what I want to do.
Oh, that's good because we get a lot of that experience.
It is cool how many like of us I think have tried the director and like producer role like females.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is cool to see because like usually you don't. I mean, I
Yeah.
think we need to get better at the on air. Personally, I don't want to be on air though, but that's what's hard.
No, I don't want to be on air.
But like I think seeing more women, specifically in our class, there's a couple of really good guys that are on air.
Yeah.
But like trying to get like women to be like the face of the show is like really important too.
I feel like for most of our Monday class, we've pretty much had a girl and a guy almost every
Oh really?
on-air thing.
Yeah, it's been
I
pretty
don't think we have
equal.
enough
We
girls
don't
in our
have
class.
enough girls in my class.
Oh,
There's like 5 girls in our class, and
that's
3 of
so
them are
uneven.
here.
There's like
Oh,
15 guys. There's just literally 15 people in our class.
Yeah, our
That's
class
weird.
is really
Like
small.
15 to
Dang.
19, yeah. We have the smallest class.
oh,
Oh wow.
why didn't they split it more evenly? That's weird.
Yeah, because
Anyways,
the other class has an extra group. It's
yeah. Huh. Well, Keaton,
It's my
what
turn.
about you?
Mom. Literally the mom.
It's true though. It's fine. So I'm the sport media mom. No, I'm kidding. So I played a lot of sports growing up. I played soccer, basketball, but like volleyball was like always my favorite. And then I had a really nasty wrist injury in volleyball. So I quit after that because I was really afraid to ever get hurt again like that.
Oh,
Oops. And then my dad is an absolutely huge Bruins fan. I don't support this. I don't. But I used to talk to him a lot about it and work with statistics and numbers so him and I could like carry on this conversation about it. And then I was like, you know what? I absolutely love doing this. So I just kept up with it. And that's how I led into this program. And I heard about it through a girl who also went to my high school, Savannah Prokopets. She just graduated. But she talked to me about this program, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to apply for it. And I didn't get my hopes up because I know it's so small. So I was like, no need. But then I was like, if I get an interview, I feel like I can really make a good impression. And I had an interview with Laszlo.
Oh,
I know, right? I'm like the only person I know of, I think, who had an interview with him.
It's weird.
But yeah, him and I kind of like bonded right from the start. I'm not gonna lie, like over our last names, because I kind of have a complicated last name, and so does he. So he totally put me at ease immediately in the beginning of the interview. But yeah, and then I had my interview in late March, and I actually got my acceptance 6 days after my interview.
Wow.
Yeah,
wish.
I had my.
You were sure.
I don't know how well you guys remember this. I honestly don't even remember.
I still have
when
the
I
screenshots. I know it was
accepted.
longer than that.
Aw.
I remember like my exact day, like my interview
Me
day
too.
and my acceptance
Oh,
day.
no.
I was.
I don't remember that.
I had my interview. I'll tell you because I'm kind of weird about these things. March 16th at 1 p.m. And I
Okay,
got
don't remember
my.
the time.
I had
I
mine
have a
on March
really
16th.
weird memory. Oh my god, were you there?
I was there at 11:30. Yeah, I
Oh
actually
my
remember
gosh.
that.
Just switched.
Oh, right. You guys came in here for
Yeah.
the interview.
Yeah, I did a Skype thing.
I was
in here.
Yeah, I
That
did a
makes-
Skype one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and then I got my acceptance on March 22nd, so 6 days later. And my mom was
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
she's a teacher, so she's like, you don't need to check, like, it's probably not going to be there yet. So she went off to school, and I got my acceptance, like, I just checked quickly before I went to work. And I was like, oh my God. So I called my employer because him and I are really close. And I was like, I'm going to be like 10 minutes late. And I drove to my mom's school and ran in and told her. So I was so excited about it. So
That's so nice.
also, again, a disclaimer: I do not like the Bruins. I'm a huge,
that point.
I am a huge New York Rangers fan, like tattooed on my ankle. Dan Girardi, I love you. I'll miss you.
my God.
You just retired. And like we're riding a 2-game winning streak on some comebacks, so feeling pretty good today about my team.
Starting off the day well.
Yeah.
Just a quick little plug there.
I don't know how you guys remember the dates.
Yeah, I don't either.
Honestly,
I know my interview
it's all a
was,
blur.
My interview was March 9th. My acceptance was May 1st. So I was waiting literally forever.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a long
It
time.
is a
My
long
acceptance-
See
time.
if I can find the
My
email right
acceptance
now.
was March 27th.
I'm gonna pull up this.
Everyone got
screenshot.
in like right after their interview, I swear.
Yeah,
I waited
that's
so
what- yeah,
long.
I didn't
I was
get it. I
like
waited, too.
accepting the fact that I wasn't going to Ryerson this year.
At one point I was like, okay, I didn't get in. They're just not going to tell me. So I just like not gave up, but I was kind of like, okay, like let's start like looking into the other programs like that I applied to.
Yeah.
I wasn't
And then all
even
of a
gonna
sudden It
go.
was like, shoot. I was like,
Like
whoa.
I had a second choice, but I wanted to go here. I was like, I'm not wasting a year
Yeah.
of money
Yeah.
when I can just like work, make more money, and then go to Ryerson the next year.
Yeah.
But then I got in, so it's fine. Didn't have to worry about it at the end.
And now we're living happily ever after.
Yes.
Here
Just
we are.
kidding.
So many projects to do this week.
No sleep. It's
We
fine.
love getting extension on the career research essay.
So lucky. Mine's due
Hey,
tomorrow.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
Ryan extension. Yeah, ours is due tomorrow, and I'm meeting with my girl today. So I'm like,
Ryan-
really,
Ryan is a gem. That's all I have
wow.
to say.
Shout out to Ryan
Sykes, if you're listening.
he is.
You're a gem.
Definitely is
I
listening.
wish I knew everything he knew about like
Yeah.
that room, especially because like he just knows everything.
Oh,
I'm like,
Ryan appreciation post.
He's a gem.
honestly, just angel.
Appreciation radio thing for Ryan Sykes.
We should have him on the show.
We
We have it for on
We
air
should.
next sem.
Not on
air.
air.
I have
No, the
Dan.
technical.
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
a
I
TA.
have Dan.
Yo,
No,
he's a TA.
Dan's the,
He's a TA. He's a TA.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So I have Dan Berlin.
Can never get enough of Ryan.
What a
Sykes.
gem.
Honestly.
I have something that I feel like could possibly take up the rest of the show, but I think it would be kind of funny and interesting.
Oh my
Let's
God.
go.
I'm scared.
I want to
Yeah, I'm
hear your most memorable moments from, I guess, first year and first semester of second year being in sport.
Ooh.
I didn't know
I
what the
know.
heck was happening.
talk
first
about all
year,
the
first
mental
semester?
breakdowns
I was just trying to figure out life, so I don't think there's a lot of
Stress.
memories there.
Like memorable to do with school, like connected to our
Yeah,
program.
anything sport media related that
First
stands
year,
out.
it was really fun to play soccer with you guys. That's the first thing that
Yes.
came up in my head.
Oh yeah, that was
Like,
fun.
Yeah, I was
I forgot
playing
about
soccer
that.
with everyone. Ella, who was there?
Me,
You,
Sam.
I was-
Kennedy, all of you guys.
We love
Um,
intramural soccer when I
it was
haven't
really
played soccer
fun.
since I was 10 years
Lost the
old.
game, but you know what? It was fine. It was fine.
Lost a lot of games, but it was fine.
Lost a lot of games, but it was fine.
Okay, I have a couple.
Yeah,
Yay.
cool.
So intramural hockey last year was a lot of fun. I was like one of the only girls on the team. It was me and one other girl, but no, it was a lot of fun. And I like miss it a lot this year, but obviously commuting it's hard, and I'm not about to drag my hockey bag from Hamilton at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night.
That makes sense.
And then this other one was like literally last week, but color commentating the Putt Putt World Championship for my show.
How was
that
that?
was so fun. It was so fun.
It looked cool,
So
like from what I saw.
if I could do it again, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
You were a little bit nervous going into it, right?
I was like so scared going in. Like I didn't go to my graphics class because I had to help set up early on, and like I was terrified going in. And like the rehearsals showed like I did not do well in my first.
You did really
Like,
good. We
my
saw your
first
interview.
my first rehearsal or whatever. But yeah, the final was good.
That's good. That's exciting.
Guys, Ryan Sykes just walked past.
He probably like tried to look the other way. He's like, I know, there's so many people in here. I gotta deal with
We're all
that.
just gonna bust out and be like, go listen on YouTube because we gave you a shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone else? I can't. I'm still thinking, guys.
I'm still thinking.
I have quite a
show, yeah.
few. I don't know, like definitely one of them is this year like pitch production because
Oh, yours got picked.
yeah, ours got
Yeah.
picked, and that was very we were excited, but it was also a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Welcome to second year sport media.
yeah, but we were very excited to do it, and we were kind of panicking because we realized that like 3 days before we really didn't have like we weren't that prepared, and we thought, oh my god, like this is gonna be a train wreck, and then we came in and we actually did very well.
Yeah.
I was directing for that show, and I was terrified because I was like, oh my god, the rundown's not
So
even
much to
done.
do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, but it turned out actually really, really well. So yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights. And yeah, another one would probably be, I don't know, orientation, I think, and just first year when like I got to meet it, because I was really, really scared. And I remember when it was like our program's orientation at the Mac, I showed up like an hour early, and I was like, why is no one here yet? And yeah, I was really scared, and I like didn't
forgot
know
about that.
almost anyone. So yeah, and then
we
I-
had a good time that week.
yeah. And then I realized that everyone was super friendly and that
Yeah.
this is a great program. So, yeah.
That was a fun time.
That was fun.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on that. Probably the pitch was one of my
Yeah.
favorite things.
Yeah.
Mine got picked too. And I was the host, and I literally have
What a
not
flex.
hosted since like last year, I guess. And even then, last year was like what 5-minute shows or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
8 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Really
we thought
short.
those were like impossible.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
5 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
How are you gonna fill 5
Yeah.
minutes?
So to be able to put on like a 30-minute show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also when you watch it on TV, obviously you're just okay. Maybe not a sport media students. Like I feel like now I watch TV and I'm like I see what they're doing. I know what they messed
I
up
watch
on.
TV so
Super
differently
critical,
now.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
super
Oh, yeah.
critical.
But I think
and like all the
putting on-
graphics and
yeah.
stuff, you're like, that doesn't match.
yeah, I would do so much better. But I'm sure you would agree, Elizabeth, that now that you like have put it on yourself, you realize how much work it is just to put on 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And like we'd been planning that since
Yep.
week 4, maybe even before that. I can't remember exactly. And it like it just 8 weeks all comes together into 30 minutes, and then it's over.
Yeah.
On Thursday, I did like my first like Rams live thing.
Oh yeah, I convinced her to do
And
camera.
I probably had the easiest camera. I just had like I was doing
Yeah.
hockey and I just had to go back and forth. But there was so many times where I'm like, I don't think I'm following the puck. I don't know where the puck is right now. Like, I was literally like panicking. So like to Ella's point, like watching like hockey or watching certain sports, like whenever like my parents are like, oh like where's like the puck or the camera person didn't get it, I'm like, don't yell at them. It's really hard. Like, it's, like, I know what that's like now. But yeah, that was a good like memory, like the Rams live. I wish I got involved in it more first year, but
I had a shoulder cam once last
Okay, I
year,
don't know how you
and
did it.
Oh, it's horrible.
it's so bad. It's so heavy, and like
Just got away from
by
Ryan
the
Sykes.
end, by the end of the game, it was like it was like 5-4 for like U of T or something, and everyone's like pushing for Ryerson to go to overtime, and my camera's like falling off my shoulder. I'm like, guys, I cannot I cannot do overtime. Like I'm cheering against Ryerson, and I felt bad because I'm like, obviously I want them to win, but I'm like, I literally cannot hold this camera any longer, or it is gonna break, and I'm gonna owe the school like $500,000, which I don't have, believe it or not.
No, they're really heavy.
Yeah, Rams Live is definitely a big highlight. I think it's
Oh,
always
yeah.
such
It's so fun.
such a friendly environment too. I don't know, and you learn so much from it. And all the upper years always
Yeah.
want to help you.
They're always-
and-
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
supportive environment. I was really
Yeah.
nervous because I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna be like, oh, who's this like new person that doesn't know what the heck
No,
she's
they
doing?
love
But
it.
they're like actually like are
I was
really
just gonna say,
helpful.
like, all the BCLs are so nice. Like, they're
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
like, willing to help you.
And if you mess, like if you make a small mistake, they
they-
don't get like mad at you.
Yeah,
I
They're
totally
just like,
understand that
oh.
like this is the environment to make a mistake.
Yeah.
which I'm so
and
thankful
try new
for.
things and like exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also the BCLs, it's so cool to be in there with them and watching them like produce or direct or whatever their roles are, because it's almost like some of them are only in third year. Like that's
know.
only a year older than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Right.
did they get this experience from?
And they
yeah.
seem
Right.
so
Yeah.
mature.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
remember last year I signed up for audio assist for like the women's national basketball, like
Oh,
nationals
yeah.
or whatever. And no one signed up for audio lead, so I ended up doing audio by myself on a like national, like for basketball nationals. And I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. And like they were all so helpful for me. Like they're so supportive and telling me that like it's okay if I like make mistakes or anything, because obviously I had never done it before. And like
And
they
you
were
were by
all
yourself,
like,
like,
I was by
that's-
myself. Yeah, it's like they were all like really happy for me at the end of it, because like they all said I did a good job. Just a quick flex, but no, I'm just kidding.
No,
But,
I did the
no,
same
like-
basketball one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Yeah, lots of highlights from sport media.
We love sport media.
And making friends, I feel like was a big thing. We talk about this on the show all the time, but like having only 18 girls in the program, I feel like brings us all closer together. And we got
Definitely.
basically half of them in the room right now.
Literally.
Literally, there is half of them in the room right now.
Do you guys remember when we went skating last year? For
Yeah.
those of you
No,
guys
that
who
was
could come.
That was
We
very
should do that
fun.
again.
Remember when
was
I
a lot of
helped
fun.
plan it and then I woke up sick the day we went? Love that for me.
Where did we go after Denny's?
Denny's.
Breakfast.
And I have that video of everyone having food, and then
I'm
Therese
so sad
didn't
I
get her
missed
food
it.
yet, and so she was just like sitting there with like nothing. A cup of water.
I'm so sad I got sick. I wanted to
do
go
it again.
so
We'll
bad.
do
We
it
have to
again.
do it again.
Oh,
Just
Denny's
tell
is
me,
so good.
tell me when so I can bring my skates to school.
So hungry now.
I can't skate, but I will go with you guys.
I can't stop.
Someone
so I can
just
go,
if
but
someone
then I
just wants
run
to
into
pull
someone.
me
Oh,
along
same.
the ice,
Karen was like pulling me the whole time.
just someone just pull me and that's fine.
I
'cause
can't
don't
skate
trust
either,
myself.
guys.
I can arrange that.
It's so funny because like I didn't really know any of you guys that well.
Yeah,
then,
me
so it was
neither.
like not. I mean, it was fun, but it was like awkward too because you're like just starting to make
Get to know
conversation.
people.
And,
You're
getting-
like trying really hard to be
yeah,
friends
and it's like
really
me.
friendly.
But yeah, hopefully when we do it again, I feel like we all have talked to each other at
Oh,
least
yeah.
once and like
Yeah.
know, have some sort of memory with
Yes.
everyone at least once. So I think it'll be a lot more of a comfortable and like not as awkward environment. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So next week,
Yeah.
guys. Next week.
We're
Honestly,
off
I'm
next
down.
week. It's our
I
last
mean,
week.
I'm down.
New semester.
If the ice.
We don't have classes next week.
Yeah, but we could just
I'm not
meet-
coming
I
to Toronto
do.
if I don't have to.
You
It's a long
What do you
commute.
mean, Ella? You have classes like the Monday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Monday. Well, because classes still
I'm
happen on
off.
the Monday.
I'm off on Monday, so I don't have class. I only have an
Look
exam
at you,
next
Kennedy.
week.
Okay, well, some of us have class on Monday.
Some of
Okay.
us need to wake up early still.
I only have an exam on Wednesday. I mean Thursday.
How many exams do you guys have?
I have one.
Uno.
Yeah, I have one.
Which is weird. I feel like in our program, I mean, it's nice because a lot of our what you would call exam is just like a big project or a production that's worth like a lot,
Yeah.
right? Which I think is really
Fair.
good for this program. Like obviously,
I think that's
they're
It
not going
makes
to test
sense.
us
Like,
on
what are you going to test us on?
written. Yeah.
It's still just as hard. Like a lot of people that I encounter, like the
Yes.
people on my fencing team or even my roommates, they're like, "Oh, how many exams do you have?" I'm like, "None." But then they're like, "Oh my god, like your program's so easy. Like all you do
No
is have
way.
fun
No,
all day." And
everybody
I'm like,
thinks
not a
that.
it's
chance.
really
Everyone
not.
thinks
Like that's the thing that people can't understand. It's like we have a group project every
week.
single week in
Yeah.
every single class.
Like, I feel
it's-
like-
it's accumulative and like
Yeah.
the work that we would be putting into like studying or something, we're putting into like every
Yeah.
single week of hard work.
And like,
We're
I
there's
feel
no
like
way
the
we can
work's.
slack off.
I feel like the work's not difficult. It's just so like time consuming, and it
That's
takes
the
like
biggest
you
word for this
have you
program.
have to work hard in order to actually
Yeah.
like get it done. Like if
Yeah.
you're half-assing it, you're not getting anywhere.
Like
with
it's
this
such a
program.
like,
hands-on
there's some
program.
classes like the multicam like if you don't like if you can't make it to an exam or whatever, like you could reschedule, and like usually it's not too hard to reschedule, but there's only one day that show's happening, and
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like that's it.
Yeah.
Like you know how much pressure I'm like I can't be sick, which obviously doesn't help because I'm pretty sure like mentally that'd probably make you more sick anyways. But I'm like I need to show up to class, and like even like on those like small projects, it's like so much pressure to show up on
Yeah.
those days because
And-
it's like you can't miss them.
And every group needs you because you're part of the.
Especially because of how
call sheet.
smaller classes.
Yeah.
I'm like, if one person doesn't show up, like that could just ruin like
100%.
for our pitch production. How many we had 3 locked
Three
cameras.
locked
And we just had Skylar doing
We
shoulder
didn't have
cams.
social media. Shoulder cam, which
was
sucked, but like I felt so
angels,
bad for
thank
him.
God.
No one did social media
Thank
for
God.
No one
us.
did social media. Yeah, so it's like because like 2 or 3 people couldn't make it or like had to leave or whatever, which is fine. But you just realize the impact that like
Everyone has a
missing days or
role.
everyone,
Yeah.
everyone has on the
Yeah.
show.
Speaking of classes, this could be interesting unless we're like all taking the same class. But what are your electives for next semester?
I took editing specialty and
Yeah.
sociology
Me
of
too.
sport.
Me too.
Oh, all right.
Editing specialty.
Well, I'm trying to get into editing
FL.
specialty.
Yep,
So
trying
if it all works out.
I'm trying. Well, I was originally gonna take geography of Toronto, but the schedule for that is kind of trash.
Oh.
So I'm gonna hopefully switch into personality theory.
Oh.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that one.
Sam
it's
taking
a
the
psychology one.
Yeah.
Psychology. That's the word I was looking for.
Psychology.
I like
Yeah.
social courses, psychology, anthropology courses.
I
just
wanted to
find them
take
easy.
psychology of sport, but you need to take intro to psych first, and not about to do that. So
Yeah.
That messes with my head.
Is
Pretty much
anyone doing a
biology?
minor of some sort?
Oh,
I
I'm
want to
too-
start. Sorry.
Yeah.
go ahead.
You go first. You go first.
No, I want to start one because I took new studies class
Yeah.
in first year, second semester. So I really enjoyed that. So I want to maybe do that. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm taking 2 minors, which is marketing and communication and design. I don't know why
Ooh.
marketing is actually.
It's
I don't-
hard.
I- I went through marketing metrics, which was all math, and I'm just not good at math. So, and I don't know how I passed. So I think going through that, I'm like, hey, why would you like stop? So
Yeah,
I'm just
keep
gonna
doing
continue.
it.
Yeah.
What's
You know you can make
communication
it
of
through it.
design?
It's like graphics, but
Yeah.
like
yeah, that's why you're in it.
advertise. I don't even know.
Is
That's
it more
why
like
you're
the
taking
business
it.
side?
Sorry.
Is it more the business side, or is it like the actual making graphics?
Like making?
Yeah. Oh, that's so
Take
cool.
it, girl. Let's take it together.
One thing that
I'll
I've
take it.
really
Graphics is
learned
fun.
is that like in our program, like some things are so hard and so not what you expected. Like marketing was that for me.
Oh, yes.
But in
Yeah.
this program, something that like we went to this panel and Jesse Pollock from TSN was there and he was like,
What a guy.
you have to want it. Like in this
Yeah.
program, you have to want it.
Yeah, if
It's
you
not
don't care.
like in other programs where you can just like get your homework done and like kind of get your degree. But in this program, like you have to stand out.
You have to put in the time.
You have to put in your passion into what you're doing. Like you have to want it because you're doing these like harder classes and
Yeah.
sometimes you lose sight of motivation or whatever, and that's when you really have to like dig deep and say like this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And, like this is what sport means to me and this is why I want to do what I'm doing.
Jesse Pollock, if you're listening, you're a gem.
Definitely.
Sure he is.
Teresa and I are going to Bar Down Live tomorrow. So nice.
If I didn't have lab until 9 o'clock, I'd be going too, but
Oh yeah,
School's important.
yikes. Back to the lab where you gotta show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, the tickets were $5. I
Yeah.
was like, cool.
Yeah. That was
I'm
cool.
actually mad. Tell Jesse he's a gem.
I
we
think
will.
it's I think okay, don't quote me on this, but Julia Tocheri.
Yeah.
It's her practicum
Yeah, it is.
project,
Yeah.
which is so cool that
What's her
in
practicum
sport
project?
media,
What's your practicum project?
the Bar Down Live.
Like the live quiz,
No
the meet
way.
and greet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
I didn't
so-
know that.
I didn't
One
know
thing that's
that.
so amazing about this program, since like we've been talking about it all day, is like how much like connections and
How you can kind of integrate
Yeah,
that. Like the fact
exactly.
that she's like taking her job at TSN and integrating it with her 4th year practicum here.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
cool.
really creative.
like the opportunities that we get and
smart.
everything to really kind of like push us ahead in a way, because I feel like if you were taking a program similar to this somewhere else, you wouldn't be able to do that. Like
Yeah.
first of all, we're in downtown Toronto.
I was
Like
gonna say the fact that we
Right in the
helps.
heart. We have all the right facilities.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
we have everything that
Yeah.
Within, like,
like
blocks.
TSN or Sportsnet would have
Yeah.
at this school. So definitely
Actually-
lots of benefits here.
Speaking of when you said Toronto, I know not everyone in this room is a Maple Leafs fan, but I'm assuming everyone's a Raptors fan. What were your
Spicy
have you
peanut
had any
boys.
like have you had any major sports moments in Toronto that just kind of reminded you why you're in this program? Because
Oh.
I know I've had so many.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Can I talk about like outside of Toronto?
Yeah.
Hamilton?
No.
I actually wasn't even thinking about Hamilton, to be honest, but yeah, the Bulldogs have a championship in 2018.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the
Just saying.
CFL. I was like, yes, something we've never talked about.
Yeah, the
before.
CFL, but they blew it.
Still cool.
Ridiculous. I'm salty.
Salty.
I have a lot of
15 and
those-
3 and no Grey Cup.
I have a lot of those moments at my
Ridiculous.
job, like working for the
Yeah.
Marlies and the AHL. Like I just met Rich Peverly the other day. Does anybody know who he is?
I do.
Okay, thank you, because I told a bunch of people and they're like, "Who's Rich Peverly? Why are you so excited?" And I was like, "Okay, whatever." No, because
Didn't he like
played,
die on the bench?
Yeah. Okay, so he played for the
I'm
Bruins.
thinking of
So
the right
my
person.
so my dad and like my brother Jesse are huge fans, and then he's the one who had the heart issue on the bench in Dallas and died, and so and I was like,
And
that
then
was
came
so
back
cool.
to life.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
like,
not
how
dead.
did you meet him if he's dead? I'm not.
I'm confused.
So he was coaching.
like a heart attack.
So he was coaching the Texas Stars. Yeah, it was. He had like a heart, and then he just dropped on the bench.
Yeah.
And there was another moment when I was working, and I had to go by, and because the bench at Coca-Cola Coliseum, they're pretty small. Sometimes the backup goalies don't sit on the bench with them, so they sit like out in the open. So I had to get by one of them, and it was Dustin Tokarski, which was huge for me because when the Canadians played the Rangers back in like 2014 and Chris Kreider took out Carey Price, Dustin Tokarski came in, and I remember thinking like, oh my god, first of all I was like, this young kid, he's gonna blow up for the Canadians, and he did, but like so the Rangers got through, but when I passed him I was like, it's Dustin Tokarski, and everyone's like, you're so weird, and I'm like, no, you don't get it. So I've had a couple of those moments at my job, which is nice.
I remember last year when I worked for MLSE for like 2 months, I was like serving food down like beside the Leafs bench, and like there's just like no like break there, like it's just where the Leafs walk off the bench, like you go down the tunnel to get to like these seats on the side, and I walked down there, and like I was expecting like the bench to end or there to be like at least a wall in between or whatever, and like I wasn't even paying attention, and I like handed them the food, and then when I turned around, I'm standing like from me to Natasha away from Garrett Sparks, and I was like, whoa. Like, hello. I was like, what is happening right now? Like I didn't even, like I said, I wasn't even paying attention that there was just no wall there, and I just turned and I was like, that's like the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then I just ran away because I was scared.
What were
It's
some of your
kinda-
go ahead.
It's kind of cool how, you know, we're in sport media and we're a lot of it's about the athletes and everything, but then you also kind of realize that these athletes they're normal people, and the opportunities we get in this program are really cool because I got an opportunity last year to be like the personal assistant in this like top secret interview, and so
And she's sharing it on the radio.
Yeah, I know.
It's classified.
It was really
information.
cool. An email went out and they were like, we need a personal assistant for this interview we're going to do of a WNBA player. And I was like, oh my God, please be Keeners. Please be Keeners. Please be Keeners. And then I show up and the interviewer shows up and I'm like, yeah, so would it be okay if like you let me know like who the athlete is? Like, and she was like, okay, you're not supposed to tell anyone. Like no one knows that she's supposed to be here. It's supposed to be kept like really low key. We don't want any press. And she was like, it's Keeners. And I was like, oh my God.
Good old Hamilton girl.
Yeah, and so then she walked in and like the way she walks in with confidence and everything, but then they just started having a conversation about like, I don't know, like family, traveling, like work and like their life and everything like that. And I was like, she's just like me. And it was really cool because then as soon as she left, a couple guys from our program, like she walked out the door and walked down the stairs, and these guys from our program also walked by, and they kind of did a double take, and then they saw me in the room and they were like knocking on the door and they were like, wait, did we just see Kia Nurse? And I was like, yeah, you did. Don't tell anybody though. And that was really cool because that was kind of like a personal experience that I got to experience like on my own, but then I also got to like meet her. Like she definitely has no clue who I am. Doesn't care anyways. But it was cool because I got to realize that I'm a huge fan, and she's in the WNBA. It's not like it's the NBA, but it's the WNBA, and the guys in our program knew about her. Like they recognize her. Like that was so cool. Thinking that like they recognize a WNBA player in Ryerson, like completely out of context, not wearing any like basketball stuff or anything. And that was one of the reminders why I'm in this program, because it's for that awareness, I guess.
Like I think I kind of had like not a reservation, but like a feeling of if I came to this program, like if it was gonna not ruin my love of sports, but if like all the stress of working with sports all the time and all this was gonna take away from the experience. But for me, it's only enhanced it. Like now I watch sports with a critical eye, and like it's more enjoyable for me, and like having those opportunities, kind of like Natasha just talked about, just kind of gives me like a deeper understanding of athletes, and like this whole industry has just only like made my experience with sports that much better.
Yeah, I know I was kind of like hesitant coming in because my dad used to work in sports. He used to be a journalist, and he said that he missed being a fan, which is why he left. And I kind of thought about that a lot. Like, I knew I wanted to come here no matter what, but I kind of questioned like what if that would happen to me. And ever since I started, it's just been fun. Like, I've never had a second thought. I've never wanted to leave. Like, I've never even thought about it. And like Keaton said, it just kind of like enhanced the way I watched and opened up a ton of opportunities for me. So
Yeah,
Great point.
I didn't. A lot of people here also had, like, when I came into the program, a lot of people already had like radio experience and writing, and they did. Some people already had a job at TSN, and I'm like, okay, well, my school didn't have anything like radio, nothing, like absolutely nothing. We had math, science, English. That's it. So that was kind of scary at first because I heard about all these experiences people had, but after like a bit, I realized like we're all going at our own pace.
I think it's more about making experiences than already having them coming in, right? Like,
that's
it's
a good
obviously everyone, like even all the profs will say it's all a learning experience, right? Like, this is the place to learn. This is the place to make mistakes. So I think it's more about like learning about what it is and not coming in like you know everything already, you know?
Oh, yeah, I've got a good question. I know we've only got 5 more minutes, but if anyone's got a good story for this, what has been your biggest mistake in the past year and a half? Because I know I've made some pretty big
mistakes.
Okay,
Oh.
Keaton.
I'm kidding.
All right, producer mom Keaton over
Buying
here.
the production theory textbook.
That was a big mistake.
I feel bad.
Such a good one.
I feel bad because Sam like scanned all the pages out of
yeah,
our textbook for all of us.
Wow. True, Sam's
I'm
another
not
G
gonna
of the
lie.
program.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't read a single chapter.
Honestly, it's the thought that counts.
My biggest
trying to
mistake
think.
was taking production theory. I know it's mandatory and all, but like worst class.
Yeah. Okay, but like actual mistakes.
I
I know.
feel
I'm
like-
trying to think if I have.
I feel like we could all probably say something like, not even a mistake, but just like a missed chance of not speaking up or not putting yourself out there, and you
Good
kind of look back
point.
on it like, oh, why didn't I like raise my hand to present, even though I was kind of scared, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But even looking, I don't know about you guys, but every so often I'll like think back to like I knew I wanted to get into sport media in like grade 11, and looking back on that day and then looking to where we are now is like, it's just so
crazy.
motivating.
I remember like finding out about the
can do it,
program.
guys.
I remember finding out about the program in grade 10 careers. Like, remember like civics and careers?
I feel like
we
my
had to
careers
do
class was useless.
Yeah,
Like, I
it
didn't
was,
class
but like
program.
we had to do like research or something, and it was on like career cruising. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And we had to like find like 3 programs that we want to get into. So I'm looking up like, you had to type like keywords, and I typed like sports, media, and communications, and like the first one was like sport media at Ryerson University, and I was like, whoa, there's an actual program for it. Like, I thought I would either be like sport management or just like media studies.
Yeah.
And I found
I
sport media,
even,
and I was
like-
like, whoa.
I even look back to the beginning of this year, just when you look at if you take our intermediate multicam class, like if you told me in September that I was going to help or you were going to pitch a 30-minute show and produce that, it would have been like,
I remember
absolutely
hearing
not.
that.
I am not confident enough to do that. And then you look at it and it's like, okay, you really can do it.
I remember like hearing that we had to do a 30-minute show in the beginning of the
Like, next
semester, and
year
I was
it's
like,
all 30
ugh.
minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, I remember being
Like, the new norm is
intimidated.
30 minutes. I'm like, that's so long.
I remember being intimidated about the 10-minute show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that's so long.
But like looking back on our past, and maybe we can use this as kind of like a wrap-up question, but where do you guys think women in sport media and in sport is going in the future?
I think it's definitely improving. I think it improved a lot. Honestly, like, now I watch TV, I see, obviously it's, like, not as many women as men, but, like, I see a lot of women on commentating.
Both sides of the
yeah,
camera.
on
Yeah.
both sides of the camera, and you hear about all these, like, one of our profs at I never had her, but Karen Sebesta.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
queen.
she's Karen.
Producer.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Karen.
You know, you hear all these women doing all this stuff, so I think it's like it's definitely progressed and it's heading in the right direction.
I think that's a good point that you touched on there, is that being in front of the camera and being behind the camera are equally as important as a woman in sport. I
That's
think
exactly why I want to produce and direct.
exactly. Like, I think women being in front of the camera is great. Like, people see that, like viewers see that, but I think what's also important is that the people in charge of the industry, the people leading the industry, the people managing it, are also seeing the women behind the camera doing the work that makes the difference and everything.
Because a lot of the viewers don't understand like what's like how much of an impact directors and producers have.
Yeah.
Because I tried explaining to my old-fashioned parents, who I love a lot, what I'm doing in class, and like, oh, I'm producing a show today, and they're like, oh, that's great. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this and that, and they're like, oh.
It's not as big a deal to them, right?
Yeah,
It's hard to
yeah.
explain it.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's hard.
It's like, this is important, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
This is important.
But it's so rewarding when you do
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
something that big.
especially seeing the final product and like it looks so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even with this show, I feel like we had a really good season. I feel
Totally.
like we
Great
talked about a
season.
lot.
Listen to
Totally.
every
We'll be back,
episode.
ladies
Thanks,
and
Sam.
gents.
Yeah, everyone make sure to follow us on Instagram, keep up, because hopefully we're going to be back in the new year, 2020. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Ooh, where'd 2019 go? Like what?
Honestly.
Our
true.
childhood decade is over.
Yeah.
Yes.
On to a new decade, everyone.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
But thank you for listening this year and this season to everyone. And yeah, honestly,
it's been a great
this is sad. This is not goodbye. You've not heard the last of Girls Got Game. But thank
See
you.
you soon.
Thank you
yeah,
to
see you
our
soon.
visitors, by the
Thank
way.
you so
for
much for
coming
having
in.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Really
appreciate
Love
it.
y'all.
It's been my dream
Love
since I
y'all.
started listening.
You made it. You made it.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still carved into my bones.